Hi everyone, myself Susmitha, working as an assistant professor in data science and AIDS department. Today my topic is on object-oriented programming. Uh, what what is an object-oriented programming, and I'll explain you about the procedure versus object-oriented programming. What are the OOPS concepts we have? What is object? What is class? And some of the UML diagrams with some examples. Uh, what is an object? Object means like our life is a set of objects, as I say, which represents the table, chair, computer, or any of this. P represents an object. Example you can see here. What is an oops? Oops means like, as I said, the objects as a chair, tables, teacher, and PC, and all these are some of the objects, and we have some sort of colors to these objects. So there is a definition for the OOPS concept. We define it as like represents. Uh, uh, it represents some concepts related to I mean, we have a definition of the OOPS. Please note that we are showing in our classrooms. Example of the classroom I am taking here. Here we have chair, table, teacher, and PC, and all. So what is OOPS? OOPS is object-oriented programming, which involves the objects, programming through the objects, we can say. An object represents an entity in the real world that can be distinctly identified. For example, student, as I said, a desk or a circle, PC, I can say some buttons. All these are the objects. An object is uniquely identified. It has its state, behaviors. As we compare the object programming with the procedural programming, the unit in procedural programming is we call it as a function, whereas in procedural programming we creates functions. Procedural programming separates the data of program from the operations that manipulate the data. Coming to the object-oriented programming, in object-oriented programming, the programming is through classes. And object-oriented programming starts with isolation of the classes that looks for the methods inside them. And object-oriented programming focus both of them. That is, you can see here in procedural, we have some client requirement. We are passing some packets to the server. Whereas in object-oriented programming, we create an object called employee object. From the client, we are sending an employee object to the server. So these are the list of concepts for object-oriented programming. OOPS concepts we can say. First one is the abstraction, the second one is the encapsulation, and the third one is the inheritance, and the next one is the polymorphism. Abstraction means it is I mean, like we can say it is a abstract class, we have abstract method and interfaces, whereas the encapsulation we have collection of it a group of classes or objects, I can say. The next, inheritance means it inherits the parent-child relationship, and polymorphism is simple, we can say it's a collection of many forms, and we have compile time polymorphism, runtime polymorphism. We'll go in detail with the next topic. Abstraction, as I said, abstraction is simply a complex reality by modeling the classes appropriate to the problem. Abstraction is a mechanism to show only the relevant data to the user. We show some particular data only to the user, which is required to the user, and whatever the functionality which is implemented back to that, it is not displayed to the I mean the end user, I can say. For example, when we take an example of the car, what are the instruments, what all the mechanisms which are done is not required for the end user, but the end user sees only the model and the type, and I mean, like whatever, either it runs the petrol or diesel. He just shows its speed. and he doesn't know what internally how the functionality is done. The next example for that is ATM machine, as like we insert the card and we take the money, but internally what the function is performing, we are not bothering about. We just withdraw the money, transfer the money, and we receive the statements. One more is like the call. I mean, when we get a call, we just see who is calling when after the calling. I mean, when we click on the OK button, when we receive the calls, we just see only the information. But who internally what the functionality is implemented, we are not bothering. This is one more example for the abstraction. The next is an encapsulation. In the encapsulation, we have as a grouping up of data into a single unit. As I said, here we are grouping the data into a single unit. I can say here the example we take as the account value. Inside that account value, we have the name, address, deposit, withdrawals, and all everything into a single unit. When you change some address, so this all details will be same, but when you change some address values, it will be maintained in a single unit of the class. The next, what are the benefits of encapsulation? Encapsulation protects the integrity of data objects. One more, like it protects the unwanted access by the client. Whatever the unwanted data, he is not exposed to the user. As I said, the bank app for the client to change an account balance, but he just sees the account balance or whatever the transactions he has done, whatever the statements he wants. But what internally data related to the other, we are unable to see that. It allows to change only the class implementation. We want either we want to change our name or we want to change our address. We just changes that. So it allows to constrain the object state. This is called encapsulation. The one more concept we have is inheritance. Inheritance means the ability of new class to create from an existing class. First one is a student class, and from the student we take the college as well as student. Either he goes to the college or he goes to the school. Either he goes to some BTech college or diploma or BC colleges, and if it is he is in the school, either he'll be in the primary school or he'll be in the secondary school. This is what example I can say. The base class we are inheriting, and to the derived class. Polymorphism. Polymorphism means it's a collection of many forms. Polymorphism means enables a programmer in general rather than program in a specific. Here I'm saying an example related to the animal. Animal, like we have dog and cat. Both are animals, means we have the features as an animal, but different forms. Dog is one form, cat is one form of the animal. This is what the transformation. Example of one more. And one more example, like we can take an example of a boy in a shopping mall. He behaves like a customer. In the bus, he travels like a passenger. If he goes to the school, he'll be like a student. And the next, if he's in the home, he'll be like a son. So all these are the different forms for the example of the polymorphism. So small practices for the OOPS is like comparison of main concepts of the OOP, how the detection of the objects in our classroom, differentiation between the encapsulation, inheritance, or some practices you can work on this, differentiation between procedural and object-oriented programming, and we can add some of the examples for the inheritance, and we can summarize this. Thank you.